All right, and welcome to our Paying for College Financial Aid Offer Review webinar. My name is Isaac Ehlers, and I am a Senior Assistant Director in the Office of Student Financial Aid. And so I will be kind of walking you through your student's financial aid offer and kind of all of the pieces that you need to know to make good decisions with your financial aid. I do want to let you know that at any point during this presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A button down at the bottom of the screen in order to ask any of your financial aid and or admission questions. We have staff from both the Office of Student Financial Aid and the Office of Admissions ready to answer any questions that you do have at any point during this webinar. This webinar will also be recorded and uploaded to the Office of Student Financial Aid YouTube channel as well. So if you do miss something or want to go back and listen to something that we've said, feel free to check that out sometime later today. This will be uploaded. So first thing, we're going to talk just a little bit about financial aid terminology so that when you are looking at your financial aid offer, it just helps you get a better idea of what are the words actually saying that are on that aid offer. The first thing we're going to talk about is the cost of attendance. So the cost of attendance is an estimate of the cost of being enrolled at Iowa State University for one academic year. So it's really our best estimate of what it's going to cost your individual student to attend Iowa State. Your cost of attendance includes things like tuition, fees, food, housing, books, course materials, supplies, equipment, transportation, and personal expenses. Again, your cost of attendance is just that estimate of the cost. So individual student costs may vary based off of students' lifestyles, majors, academic colleges, and academic progress. Tuition and fees. So tuition and fees is a big part of your cost of attendance. Tuition and fees is the cost of courses taken at Iowa State University. Your tuition and fees, so your tuition, again, is the cost of those courses taken. Your mandatory fees are going to be your activity and service fee, your health facility fee, your health fee, and your technology fee. Your activity and service fee covers things like the SciRide bus system all throughout Ames, which is free for students. It also includes like free access to our rec services, recreation centers, things that the MU puts on, so different concerts, student events. It covers student organizations, really all of those kind of activities that the university offers. Your health facility fee helps provide for support for our Thielen Student Health Center here on campus. And then your health fee covers services offered at Thielen Student Health Center. So while students are here on campus, they can visit the Thielen Student Health Center, and that health fee essentially is going to cover their visit. So there may be additional charges for things like labs, x-rays, things like that, but the initial visits are always covered for free through that health fee. And then we have our technology fee, which covers kind of all of our software systems here at Iowa State, things like student email, student information systems, internet access across campus. All of those things are kind of wrapped into that technology fee. Tuition and fees that are shown on the financial aid offer are always going to be assumed or based off of assumptions of full-time enrollment. So that's 12 credit hours or more. So here at Iowa State, if you take 12 credit hours, 15, 18 credit hours, you are charged one rate of tuition. If you're taking less than 12 credit hours, then your tuition is prorated based off of the number of credits you're taking. Next, we have our food and housing. So food and housing is really estimates of what it may cost to live on or off campus, depending on a student's housing choice. Actual on-campus housing costs may differ depending on a student's individual housing assignment and their meal plan choice. If a student is choosing to live off campus, they are not assessed for food and housing by Iowa State University, but we do provide that estimate within their cost of attendance so that students can utilize their financial aid to maybe assist with some of those housing and food options if they are choosing off-campus living. Books, course material, supplies, and equipment, so really kind of wraps up all of the other academic-related expenses the student may have. Here at Iowa State for fall of 2024, we are launching what's called Immediate Access 1. This is a digital-first, flat-rate course material program. It's $259 per semester, and that covers all of a student's books for all of the classes they are taking for that individual semester. It also includes any printed course material packets that a professor may require for their course. So really, it's a great way for students to not have to kind of sort through their textbook list and find out which ones they need, which ones they and where to buy them, all of those things. All of it is provided immediately digitally to students enrolled in the courses. So it's really very convenient for students where they don't have to kind of think through all of that again. And we do also allow allowances for other materials, supplies, and equipment needed for courses taken at Iowa State. So depending on different classes, there may be additional supplies necessary, but again, those actual costs may vary by term. If you do want to find more information about the Immediate Access 1 program and how that works, you can visit the bookstore website down at the bottom of the screen. Students do have the ability to opt out of Immediate Access 1. So if that is something that your student would rather purchase their textbooks elsewhere, they have the ability to do that. They would just contact the university bookstore to opt out of that program. Transportation and personal expenses. So these are estimates of what it may cost for other daily living expenses while at Iowa State. So transportation and personal expenses are never charges that are going to be assessed to a student's university bill, and the student is not going to have to pay at Iowa State for these charges. But we again provide that budget so students can utilize financially to pay for some of these expenses. Things like laundry, subscription services, personal vehicle parking, gas, etc., prescriptions, personal hygiene items, and just any other daily cost items that a student may have during the 9 months of the academic year. Grants. Grants are free money that are awarded based off of financial need. So you demonstrate financial need through filling out the free application for federal student aid or the FAFSA. And then if you have that financial need, then that would potentially mean that you would be eligible for certain grant aid programs. Grants are, again, free money that do not need to be repaid. So they are free, and so those are good. Then we have our scholarships. The scholarships are also free money, just like grants. They do not need to be repaid. Scholarships may be based off of a student's financial need. So again, based off of that free application for federal student aid, or they could be merit-based, so based off a student's academic performance. Students apply through the OneApp scholarship application here at Iowa State for the majority of scholarships across campus. Scholarships awarded through the OneApp are competitive, and again, are merit-based or need-based or a combination of both. The next is a subsidized loan. So a subsidized loan is going to be a federal loan that is available to students to utilize to help pay their educational expenses. Subsidized loans are need-based, meaning, again, through the FAFSA, you have to demonstrate some financial need. And the subsidized loan is interest-free while the student is enrolled at least half-time while at Iowa State. Repayment on the subsidized loan begins 6 months after graduation or dropping below half-time enrollment, which is 6 credits. And then at that point, once you would start repayment, that is when you would start paying interest on the loan as well. So it's interest-free while the student's enrolled, and then interest accrues once you left Iowa State. The unsubsidized loan, so this is a non-need-based federal student loan. So again, you still have to file a free application for federal student aid or FAFSA in order to be offered an unsubsidized loan, but you do not have to exhibit financial need on the FAFSA. Unsubsidized loans do have interest that accumulates while the student is enrolled. However, no payments are required while the student is in school. Repayment on the unsubsidized loan works just like the subsidized loan, where repayment begins 6 months after a student graduates or drops below, again, half-time enrollment, which is 6 credits or less. Next, we'll move into the financial aid offer. So how can students view their financial aid offer? Students can log into their Admissions My Account web portal, and once they've logged in, they can select financial aid from the up next column. Once you've selected financial aid, it should show you whether or not we've received your FAFSA. So it will show when we received it or the latest update to the FAFSA. And then it will also show you your financial aid offer. And then you would just click that button that says View My Financial Aid Offer. You would be able to select that. And that will open up a student's financial aid offer for Iowa State for the 24-25 award year. So the very first part of your financial aid offer will walk you through our estimated cost of attendance by semester. So it will give you an idea or an estimate of tuition and fees, food and housing, books, course materials, supplies, and equipment, and then your medical, personal transportation expenses. So again, when you're looking at tuition fees, those are things that you would be assessed by Iowa State for taking courses here at Iowa State. If a student is planning to live on campus with an on-campus meal plan, you could expect for that charge to also show up on your U-bill at Iowa State. And then books, course materials, supplies, and equipment. Again, if you're utilizing the Immediate Access 1 program, you will see those charges. And then if you're purchasing any other supplies that you may need, you may see some of those charges on your U-bill as well. But again, remembering those transportation, personal expenses, those are things that are not assessed to an individual student. So you, while students can utilize their financial aid to pay for those, there may be things that you don't need to fully consider when you are thinking about what are your actual costs here at Iowa State. The numbers here that I'm showing you on the screen are examples. Actual cost of attendance will vary based off of an individual student. So if your numbers, when you're looking at your aid offer, don't quite match what's here on the screen, that is okay. This is just kind of a demo screenshot, and what has reflected in your Admissions My Account is the correct estimate for your student. The next part of your financial aid offer is what actually shows you what financial aid you are receiving or your student is receiving here at Iowa State. So financial aid offers are now available through your Admissions My Account, and you can really kind of dive into it and look at how much financial aid you're getting by each individual term. So you can see this example for the ISU grant, they got $925 in fall, $925 in spring. Yearly total is $1,850. So this will show you any grants, scholarships. Your scholarships are going to be your admission merit-based awards, any scholarships awarded through the One App scholarship application. All of those will be reflected on this financial aid offer, whether or not you're receiving federal work study or not, which we will talk about in a later slide. And then again, your federal subsidized or unsubsidized loan eligibility, and then your eligibility for additional loan options will show at the bottom, which we will talk about a little bit later in the slides as well. So once you have had a chance to look at your financial aid offer in your Admissions My Account, then how do you determine what are your remaining out-of-pocket costs? So we have a very useful tool out on our website. So if you go to financialaid.iastate.edu/expense, this will open up our expense estimator. This is a great tool to get an estimate of your university bill before the official bills come out August 1st. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, what is my individual student going to potentially be billed, our expense estimator is going to be the best tool for you to use. So once you go out to this website, you'll click the Estimate button down at the bottom of the screen, and it will walk you through just a couple sections asking you some simple questions. So first, it's going to ask, is your student an Iowa resident or are they a non-Iowa resident? How many credits are they planning to take each semester? If you're planning to take 12 or more, select 12. If you know your student is going to take less than 12 credit hours, you can select a lower number. Then you'll select your student's classification status. So are they a first-year student, sophomore, junior, senior, graduate, vet med student? So this is not only a tool that's useful your very first year here at Iowa State, but it's useful for all future years as well. Then the next area is your area of study. There will be a drop-down area that's listed. If your student's major is listed, you'll select their individual major. If their major is not listed, you will select the standard undergraduate option. Same with the tech fee. It'll have the drop-down. If your student's major is listed, you'll select their individual major. If their major is not listed, again, select standard undergraduate. The next section of the expense estimator is determining your housing costs. So I know housing assignments are not yet available. So right now, if you're trying to use this as an estimating tool, I would just usually go with whatever your student's first choice for housing was. And then you can always go back and create a new expense estimate later on once you do have your official housing option. So here you select your housing type. So is your student wanting to live in a traditional residence hall, a suite style residence hall, one of our university apartments, or are they planning to live off campus? If you select off campus, that will just kind of zero out any housing charges since you would be assessed that by Iowa State. If you are planning to live on campus, you would just select the correct type. So let's say you're just going to select traditional residence hall. Then it would allow you to select which individual building are you planning to live in or do you want to live in. So for Friley, we can select Friley. And then it'll ask you a room type. So are you planning to live in a single room, so just by yourself? Are you planning to live in a double room, so with a roommate? It'll allow you to select the room option or the room type. And then your room feature, so whether or not you're looking at an AC type dorm or a non-AC dorm. And then your meal plan. So then for first year students, there's really two meal plan options available, Cardinal or Gold. More information will be provided during new student orientation in June about the housing or the meal plan options from the Department of Residence. So if you're not sure right now, you can just select one of the two options. And again, you can always go back and redo this once you've done a little bit more research into which meal plan option you think will work best for your individual situation. Once you've entered in that information, then it'll ask for information about your financial aid offer. So basically, you would take your financial aid offer from your Admissions My Account portal, and you would just enter in the numbers on this screen. So if you have a scholarship, you'll just enter in a scholarship line for the amount, and you're going to want to do the amount for the full year. So you can enter in all of those things, any grants that you're receiving, scholarships. If you have more than one scholarship, you can always click the little plus arrow on the screen, and that will create additional lines. So you can make sure you can add in all of your scholarships at once. And then you can enter in your subsidized and unsubsidized loans if you're planning to utilize those. So if you think you will or will not use them, you can kind of make that decision just for an estimate to get an idea of what maybe your remaining costs will be. Once you've entered all of that information, the next screen it will take you to is kind of that estimate of what you're going to be billed by Iowa State and what financial aid are you going to have to apply to those charges. So looking at kind of this example, it will show you for both fall and spring semester. So if we're looking at this for the fall, right now it's estimating it would be kind of about $10,518. For spring, it's $10,233. And then how much financial aid? So it's taking the financial aid that you've entered in and dividing it in half. And then what that's going to do is create these subtotals for you of how much are you still going to owe each semester. So looking at the fall semester with this example student, they would still owe about $2,000 after their current financial aid that we've entered. Then for spring, they would be owing about $1,700. You add those together, and in total, this pretend student would owe $3,800 for the full academic year that their financial aid is not covering. If you kind of the nice thing about this tool is you do have your little edit pencils as well. So if you want to go back in and maybe change to a different dorm or a different housing plan or meal plan, you can go in and do that, and it'll always recalculate the numbers. So you can always kind of figure out maybe what's your best option depending on expenses, things like that. Once you've determined how much you're going to owe for the full academic year, so in this case about $3,800 in this demo, then we can kind of move into talking about what are the ways to pay for these other charges. So the first option is our payment options. So one option you have is to pay your balance in full. So again, that full fall balance or that full spring balance, you could just pay that balance from a bank account. The fall balance is due August 20th, and the spring balance is due January 20th. Another option that you would have is what's called our deferred billing plan, and that would take your semester balance and divide it out into three installment payments. So let's say for one individual semester, you would owe $3,000. You could take that $3,000 balance and divide it out over 3 months. So you could pay 1,000 in August, 1,000 in September, 1,000 in October, if that's something that you wanted to do. There is a $20 fee to utilize our deferred billing plan, and you pay that with your second installment. If you want more information about paying your balance in full or deferred billing, you can visit the link at the bottom of the screen, ubill.iastate.edu, and that will provide you more information about both of those options. If you are also thinking about using a 529 or college savings plan to help pay your students' educational expenses, you can find the information on how to use that, again, online at ubill.iastate.edu. Another option you can utilize to help pay those remaining charges for an individual student is the Parent Plus loan. This is a credit-based loan that is available to parents of dependent undergraduate students to help assist with the student's educational related expenses. So with this Parent Plus loan, this is a loan that the parent can take out. The parent is the borrower, and the parent is responsible to repay the loan. Like I said, it is a credit-based loan, so you do have to apply for this loan if you want to utilize it. And you would complete that loan application online at studentaid.gov/plus-app. The 24-25 plus loan applications will be available in mid-May, so they are not yet available. So if you're wanting to kind of get started on that, you want to kind of mark your calendar for mid-May when you can start completing that application. But really, I would probably recommend kind of waiting until you've attended new student orientation in June and have met with financial aid to really talk through your aid offer to make sure kind of you understand all of the different pieces before you start applying for any loans for the 24-25 academic year. Another option that you could utilize to help pay for a student's educational related expenses is a private education loan. Private education loans are going to be credit-based loans where the borrower could be the parent or it could be the student. So this is a case where the student could be the borrower and the student would then be responsible for the repayment of the loan. Most students will require a credit-worthy cosigner since most students do not have enough credit history built up to qualify for a loan on their own. Private education loans are non-federal loans. So these loans are funded by third-party lenders such as banks, credit unions, national lenders, things like that. We do have on our website a list of lenders to help you start your search. So if you are like, I want to do a private loan, but I have no clue where to start, visit the link down at the bottom of the page, and that will start to provide you just a list of, I think it's about 7 different lenders to help you start thinking about all of the things you need to look at when you're looking at a private student loan option. While there are about 7 different lenders on our list, you do not have to use one of those lenders. You are certainly able to, but you are not required to. You can utilize any lender of your choice. We often recommend families check with their local bank or their local credit union to see if they offer any private educational loan products or if they have any specific recommendations. So really, when it comes to kind of those outstanding ways to help pay for those outstanding costs, you really have kind of your payment options. So paying your balance in full, deferred payment, the Parent Plus loan application, or a private education loan. So those are kind of your sort of 4 options in terms of paying any remaining costs you would have. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about student employment here at Iowa State. So I know I talked a little bit about WorkStudy when we're looking at the financial aid offer. So WorkStudy is a need-based student employment program. So if your student, again, has financial need based off of their FAFSA, they may qualify for WorkCity funding. WorkCity funding or earnings are earned through an on-campus job and are paid through our university payroll processes in the form of a biweekly paycheck. So students WorkCity earnings are not applied towards their university bill, but directly deposited into their bank account in form of those biweekly paychecks. Students do have to search and find a job at Iowa State on their own, and then once they found that job, they would be able to earn those WorkCity funds through that on-campus employer. The big perk of having WorkCity funding as part of your financial aid offer is that any money that's earned through your WorkCity job is excluded from wages reported on your free application for federal student aid or FAFSA. So that's kind of that big piece is the FAFSA bases a lot of your eligibility based off of your income earned from work. And so kind of for students who worked on campus through WorkCity, so again, those wages are excluded. So it's not looking at those wages as what students have to contribute towards our educational costs. If you do not have WorkCity on your financial aid offer, that is okay. Any student who wants to work on campus is able to work on campus. There are over 10,000 student employment positions across Iowa State's campus, and on average, about 1,500 of those student employees are WorkCity students. So the majority of students who work across Iowa State's campus and some of our research farms are non-WorkCity students. They are just students working in a student employment capacity. If you're thinking about looking for jobs for this upcoming fall semester, you can apply for those jobs online through SciHire, which is our online student job board, after registering for fall classes. The students do not get access to the SciHire system until they have officially registered, and you would register for your fall classes during your new student orientation in June. If you're planning to work this fall, remember to bring original I-9 documents with you to campus. So I-9 is a federal requirement to verify kind of identity before you start working at any job. I-9 documents are things like your birth certificate, your social security card, or your passport. And if you want to learn more about that, visit studentjobs.iastate.edu to make sure you have their correct documents if that is something that you're planning to work on, or if you're planning to work while you're here at Iowa State. Thinking about kind of what are your next steps when it comes to kind of the financial aid process. The first thing to do is complete your financial aid action items. Check for your financial aid action items section in your Admissions My account. If there is a section labeled financial aid action items, that means that you can click into that button and view any additional documentation that needs to be turned into the Office of Student Financial Aid. If financial aid action items does not show up on your Admissions My account, then that is good for you, and that means that you do not need to turn in any additional documentation to our office. Everything on your FAFSA is good to go. If you do need to turn in any action items, make sure you turn those in as soon as possible, as they may affect your financial aid eligibility, and so we want to get that updated and corrected so that you have the most accurate financial aid offer possible. Reporting outside scholarships. So probably right around this time, you are starting to find out maybe about some outside or hometown scholarships. So maybe from your high school or your local community, those scholarships that you've applied for. Right now, you'll kind of want to start just making a list of all of those scholarships that you've received. And then again, once you've attended new student orientation in June, you'll get more information about how to report those scholarships to our financial aid office so that we can make sure those get added to your financial aid offer. And then that we know that we're expecting those scholarships for you in the upcoming academic year. And again, all of that information on how to report those will be provided to you during new student orientation. After you attend your new student orientation in June, make sure you take action on your federal student loans. So either you've accepted, reduced, or declined your federal student loans in Workday, which is our student information system. Students will have the ability to start doing this in mid-May, but we encourage students to make their decision after attending new student orientation in June, once you've had a chance to talk with a financial aid advisor to make sure that those are the best options for you. If you plan to borrow a federal student loan, there are some action steps that you need to complete, and those are done online at studentaid.gov. So students who borrow a federal loan for the very first time are required to complete what's called a master promissory note and entrance counseling. And again, those can both be done online at studentaid.gov. If you have any questions from today's presentation or about financial aid in general or your student's individual financial aid offer, there are a couple different ways you can contact our financial aid office. The best option is any student who set up their net ID, or another word for that is your Iowa State email address. Students can schedule an appointment with our office through Navigate Student, which is our online scheduling platform here at Iowa State. Students just navigate to cyclones.navigate.eab.com in order to access the Navigate Student platform to schedule their appointment. This is the best option to schedule these or for getting your questions answered because you can schedule that appointment on a time that works for you. And then you know that that advisor is 100% dedicated that amount of time for all of your questions. You can also email us at financialaid@iastate.edu. We do our best to respond to all email inquiries within 24 to 48 business hours. And then, or you can call us at 515-294-2223. With kind of the number of financial aid offers that have gone out, we are seeing a lot of incoming call traffic. So just know if you are calling us, you may have to wait on hold for a little bit before you get through to an advisor. And so that's why we do recommend scheduling an appointment to just make sure that we do have that time to answer all of your questions as thoroughly as possible. You can also visit our website, financialaid.iastate.edu, for additional information with your questions. So a lot of questions are out on our website that you could kind of find some of that information again, or contact us at one of those options above. Now I will turn this over to our friends from the Office of Admissions for just a few reminders that they have.
Awesome. Thank you, Isaac. Hi, everyone. My name is Cole. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Iowa State. So we understand that now that you are starting to receive your financial aid offer, some of you may be wondering what your next steps are. If you have not already, the next step would be to pay the acceptance fee, and that's going to accept your offer of admissions. There are a couple of things that happen once you do this. Probably that first one you'll see is you'll have the ability to contract for university housing. When you accept your offer, you're going to register for something called the Net ID, which generates your university email address. That's how you'll access your Admissions My account, so you can log in and start to complete housing. We do want to let you know, even if you do accept early, you are not locked in or fully committed to Iowa State. If your plans change, for whatever reason that may be, you do have until May 20th to get a partial refund on that acceptance fee. Awesome. One of the other steps you'll have the eligibility to get started on is going to be orientation. Orientation, you're going to have the ability to attend in person, or what we call on site, or online. Orientation is when you meet with that academic advisor, register for classes. You'll get a lot of the information you need for kind of your next steps, what is left for you. You also get the chance to pick up your ISU card, that university ID, and get access to kind of your Iowa State accounts. And lastly, there is going to be Destination Iowa State. That's really our chance as a university to welcome our incoming class. We're going to take you around campus, take you through some scavenger hunts, and of course, get you prepared by knowing all of the traditions and the fight songs you need. We understand some of you may need some time to kind of look through that financial aid offer, maybe finalize that decision. I just want to let you know that as an Office of Admissions, we will reach out to you just to kind of get your thoughts and see where you're looking at. If Iowa State's that top choice, still kind of considering some options. And of course, we'll make sure that we get any of your questions answered.
All right, thank you so much. This was all of our topics that we had to cover with you today. Um, we will stick around and answer any questions in the Q&A section if you do have any additional questions. Otherwise, thank you for taking some time out of your day to learn more about the financial aid and admissions processes here at Iowa State.